we have some cool things to talk about today. So a couple of announcements, a couple of things to clarify, just things that we need to catch up on today. So let's jump in here as quickly as we can, and we'll get started. I think I have Rose in the background to help with questions, and Bertrand may be on at some point in time here. So just kind of let's play along here and make this work really well today. Give me just a second. All right. Webinar basics. We're going to cover both Usign, GIFsign, LogoSign, and MockUps. And today we're really going to focus a little bit of attention on MockUps, although that's going to take very little. And the reason is because it's so simple. And that's the good thing, is that this is a very, very simple platform to use. And so it'll be fun to be able to share that with you. I can't answer support questions. This is not the place to answer support. This is not a support system. We have a support system. So feel free to send those support questions to support, but make sure they're support questions. And just do that if you would. That helps to reduce the load. And that's the reason why we have a support system the way that we do. But we've got all kinds of other things. We've got replays, and we have detailed tutorials. And check those things out before you send a support ticket in. You may find an answer is really simple. And sometimes it's pretty good to be able to drop it in the group. It's a lot harder to write an email than it is to go, this is what I see. What do I need to do? And because this is a highly visual platform, so the visual demonstration makes it really easy for us. Good morning, Ken. Good to see you from Chicago. Hey, Tom, it's good to have you on today. And again, your questions are very important, but they need to relate to today's topic. And I actually go back and I read the chat log to make sure we didn't miss any questions. But while I'm talking about that, make sure that you proceed your questions with capital Q or the question mark, so that we will be able to identify them. It helps us a lot. So Ron, good to have you this morning as well. And then I don't have answers about pricing and timing and questions like that. But this is what we're here for, is to help you to understand the platforms that we have. I can't answer questions having to do with partners offers. And please refer to the document that has been provided for you. And by the way, we now put that with the replays so that people will have access to that as well. Okay. Replays, I will show you a replay list. Replays are caught up to here. And that was last week's replay. That was last week's webinar. So we are up to date, and it will be easy. And Rose does a fantastic job of being able to provide us a little agenda for that, so that you'll know where stuff is at. Okay. I always like to give a little community shout out, and we're going to do that here. And one of the shout outs that I need to give today is to Brad. I loved Brad's mindset here. I'm not going to be grumpy and complaining about the app being delayed. I'm just going to make a video with the logo that I made using LogoSign. I thought that's pretty cool. All right. What a great idea. Let's keep things on the positive and upbeat, because things don't always work out exactly like you plan for them to. Which reminds me of this, which is Rose posted this in the group just a little bit ago. This is a letter from Bertrand explaining what's going on with LogoSign. Lots of questions about LogoSign right now, and the whole thing in a nutshell is this. The intention was to have the Noun project be able to work online. That's not working. And that's where the struggle has been. That's where the delay's been. And so be sure to go in and take a look at that email from Bertrand, so he shares with you exactly what's going on there. And we're doing the best we can to make this available on an online version. And that's the issue that they ran into, and they're working to address that in some fashion. Okay, just read the email or read the update from Bertrand concerning LogoSign. because sometimes things just don't happen in the time and order that you think that they should. Doesn't change anything. Still in hot pursuit of this. And now that we have mock design behind, just read the email. You'll be surprised at the information that you'll get from that will help you. Okay. But rest assured that this has not been abandoned. It has not been given up on. They are working on it very diligently. Okay. The next thing is, today is a special day. We're going to have the release of the beta offer of MockDesign in just a little bit. And I'm going to show that platform to you differently than I did last week, because it's been updated since last week, and you're going to love it. You're absolutely going to love it. Okay? Tell me in the chat box if you're looking forward to that. I have a little poll question about that here in just a minute. Okay, good. Good to see that. Good to see that you are excited about that, because it's going to be, it's amazing. Remember this, I use this mantra all the time. Simple makes awesome easy, but that doesn't mean that simple is easy. It just makes awesome look easy. All right. Sometimes there's a lot of complexity that goes into that. All right. The next thing, Gene did this little GIF, and we do this a lot, and I thought this was pretty cool, but I really want to talk about the conversation that took place after this. All right. Gene made this, and I thought it looked amazing, and it was pretty cool. And he was talking about the value of the webinars, and I appreciate the shout out, Gene. I really do. That was great. But what took place after that was somebody, and I think this is a great learning experience for us. Somebody said, "Is there a tutorial for this?" And I started to do that, and I held off on it, because I want people to think through the process, because there's basically 2 steps in Usign and 2 steps in GIFsign. This looks very complex, but it's not. It's very, very simple. And I held off. I didn't want to do that. And interestingly enough, Gene didn't do it either for a little bit. And then he did. And then the guy produced his version. Oh, it was amazing. It was amazing. And so I really want you to understand that, trying to help you to develop those skills and abilities and talents. And that's the whole purpose of sometimes I just want you to stretch your abilities. I'm always telling you, stretch your abilities as far as you can. And so this was a great example. Make sure that you check that out. Take a look at the GIF that Gene created. Take a look at the conversation that followed that, because that was amazing. It really demonstrated what we were looking for. Okay. GIFsign version 1.0.18 is now out, and that added a bunch of new mockups, and I'm going to show those to you in just a second. But really cool mockups in this version. I noticed it took me a little bit longer to update this time than it has the last 6 times that I've done the updates. But remember this, the updates are frequently the way that we deliver them. I mean, there's the only way we can deliver the mockups, but it's frequently what will happen is it's just simply the mockups being delivered. But this time I had a little bit more of an issue. So just keep clicking. Remember, we have a phrase, it's called what? Just keep clicking on that, and you'll get there. Just keep answering the questions. If there's a little hiccup in downloading it, it will be fine. It's all cool. All right. Here's an example of what the mockups look like, and this is a little hard because it is it's a slightly pixelated. But you can see the new mockups here are realistic mockups. Okay, I think you'll find them very helpful. We'll scroll through them a little bit differently in just a minute, but I wanted you to take a look at those mockups and see that the new mockups are amazing. They are amazing. So if you're on the mockup club with GIFsign, you'll love the new mockups. So who can tell me what's going on today that's important and that we want to talk about? Put it in the chat box if you can. we're talking about mock-ups in GIFsign, and we're going to have a release of MockDesign. Now, excuse me, I'll apologize up front for the coughing. So, yeah, actually, the truth is, AC, I'm working on one right now as we talk. That little answer to this question for me is giving me a chance to take a sip of that so we can work on this. Yeah, Stephen, the cool thing is that the mock-upology is going to take all of about 10 minutes. All right, you'll be surprised at how cool and how simple this thing is. So here's my first poll question. Y'all ready for a poll question? Let me give you a poll question this morning. I have two, and they're back to back. But the first one is, okay, good question there. Good question, Team VMF or VFM. I will do my best to try to show that in a minute. Okay. I have a question about the ability to do a 3D stacking of images. That's a great question. That is a great question, Linda. I get asked that question a lot. A lot of my friends who purchased Uzion will send me private messages and say, "Can you show me how to do that?" Yeah, it is possible, and it's very simple. Linda's asking a question about 3D stacking of images, and we did a lot of stuff on images a while back, our 3D images a while back. We may not be able to cover it today, though. Okay. So here's your poll question. Do you currently use mockup as a regular part of your marketing efforts? Do you currently use mockups as a regular part of your marketing effort? If you do every day, put 1. If you do rarely, put 2. If you never use it, put a 3. Okay. I see some 1s. I see some 2s. I see a 3 here and there. Somebody says a 3, but I want to. Lots of 1s, some 2s. I love mockups. I use them every day. Johnny says 2, but I want to. Somebody says 3. So it's kind of across the board because mockups are such an amazing way to be able to put something in real life. Okay. The mockups in GIFsign do kind of make them a little bit smaller. But I'm like Tom, I like the billboards. I like the bigger ones because they're easier to see. No, I won't do that, David. This is easy for me to keep track of, okay? Poll question number 2. Poll question number 2. Poll question number 2 is, what's the first thing you thought of when you heard MockDesign was coming out? What's the first thing that you thought of? I had a question that just went by. I'm sorry. All right. Looks like the most people some are saying, what's MockDesign? That's a good question. And many of you are saying, I will use that every day. And that's the good thing is because this is a tool that you will use every day. Every day. Let's take a look at it here. This is one of the mockups from MockDesign. I think it's beautiful. I think the imagery is beautiful. I think its ability to proportion the image on the screen is great. And we'll take a careful look at it here in just a minute, okay? But I wanted to get an idea of what y'all were thinking about MockDesign as we got ready to dive into that platform. The next thing is, let's make sure we've got this. Y'all got the questions there. All right. The next thing is we're going to take a look at in our agenda. We'll go to the canvas and I'll show you some cool new stuff from the canvas. For example, we have added 2 basic layout sizes specifically for MockDesign. Okay, and that you'll find that very helpful. Last week I showed you that whenever you put an image in there, whatever its size is, it's going to proportion it and stick it in as close as possible. And this is a great this is a great tool to have. We're going to new layout design with both phone and desktop. Okay. All right. Let me catch up with the question just a little bit sooner. Roy's asking the good question here. What is a mock-up and why? It's because sometimes you want to be able to demonstrate on this on a computer screen or on some other type of a device showing how things work. Okay. No, this is not the same. This is a completely different technology, Charlotte, than smart mockups. I love smart mockups. I use them every day. But this is amazing. This is amazing how this works. All right, let's take a look here. I'll share some things with you from the canvas. One of the things you're going to want to do, and remember this with mock-ups and mock design, is you're going to want to begin with the end in mind. I can't remind you of that enough. You got to begin with the end in mind. And then I'll share with you some tips and tricks, some things that and answer some of your questions as we go. Okay? Does that all sound good to you? I'm going to get to that, Abigail. Hang on. Now, let me switch my screen back, and I will be ready to share with you the wonders of mock design, as somebody has appropriately said here. Hang on just a second. Okay, just got a message here that need y'all to kind of stick around at the end of the webinar, okay? So hang on to the end because they kind of parallel each other, okay? The end of the webinar and the launch of mock design parallel each other, so hang on. And yes, I'm going to get to that. Thank you very much. All right, I'm looking here to make sure I don't get lost in any of these questions. Okay, good. All right, looks like most of the questions are being taken care of, being handled. So give me just a second here. I have Gene just mentioned, and I have tested Usign version 3 on numerous platforms and don't really have any issue whatsoever. You may have to upgrade Flash. You might have to turn the Flash on and on when you come on. A few little issues like that, but I'm not having any issue with it whatsoever. So I try to replicate somebody's problem and we answer it in the group where we can. But make sure that you look in the group because that's a great place to go for questions. All right. Let me find my background here and move my screen. Okay. There we go. All right, you should be looking at the mock design platform now. Can you see that? All right, good. Okay, I want to show you something because this is a little different than it was last week. There's been drastic improvements here. So hang on a second, I'm gonna drop an image in here and you'll get a chance to see what I'm talking about. All right, can you see that? Very simple interface. Yes, Carol Gaynor, who said that mentioned the interface. Very simple interface, easy to see what you're doing. But here's what I really, really like. Do you see every single image here has that image on it. All right. Sam, no, not at this time. All right, can you see what I'm talking about here with the how the images are all listed over here? So we have them right here with that image in it, okay? And then we have the laptop image. And you've got a scroll of images with laptop. And you can pick those as you go. It only shows in the category, Rob. So we've got computer screens, and we've got laptops, and we have iPads. I agree. The images do look boss, Apple. They really do. They just really do. There's no question about that. I think that these are excellent images. I have to show you my favorite though. How do you like that? That's kind of cute. All right, let's show you a couple of other things here, because actually, Apple, that's pretty cool. Or Carol, that's a pretty cool question. Right now, and where you see that is under this tab right here, you'll see, and this is the image that you saw at the beginning of the at the beginning of the webinar. But they'll be listed here. And Bertrand, help me with this. We're going to have additional, there obviously will be additional templates that will be coming, obviously. All right, we're getting questions just right and left. And so just hang on. We'll try to scroll through these and catch these as fast as we can. Now, can you see how much faster this is than other platforms that you've seen in the past? Because you had to load up the image, then you had to size the image, make sure that it fit properly. And for each mock-up, excuse me, for each mock-up, and this, you don't have to do this. You've got one image, and you can see it across numerous platforms, all right? Okay, Clarence is asking a question here. I'm going to answer this question. What can you do with this? All right. What can you do with this? Abigail, that question comes up a lot, and if you'll notice, we address that issue quickly. Okay. Excuse me. I'm so sorry. Now, you can crop this image. And one of the reasons why you want to be able to crop it, you can position it. Notice here that I've got a little space up here at the top. You can position that by pulling this down. I could actually eliminate a portion of the screen. But that changes the proportionality here. But it got rid of that little border that was around the outside of it. So you can do positioning, and the positioning will be live, okay? And it works across all of the platforms. You don't have to do all of the images. You don't have to change it when you go, all right? Steve and I agree that the main value is speed and convenience, but it's more than that. There are more things than just that. But I completely agree with you. One of the things is just the absolute beauty of the images. And you see here where we got that space at the top. I can fix that by just addressing this right here. Okay. Keep in mind, Gaynor, that and I understand the billboard question, and I get it because I love billboards and I use them a lot. But keep in mind, this is brand new. Okay, just like any other platform, we have to get those templates created and loaded. All right. I have a lot of stuff beside me, Rose. It'll scare you. And yes, I'm gonna change images here. All you do to change images, click the plus button. You'll not be able to see the image, and I apologize for that. But I can switch to a different image. And keep in mind, we've got two different image types here. We've got the phone image, and that's what it looks like on the phone image. No, I can't do that right now. I apologize. I can't pull up your site and do it in the webinar. I apologize for that, but I can't do that. It's just. So when you have this, and you can see the image here, it's taken that image and turned it this way. Is a little different, but in that case, that other image that we had a minute ago might look better. But we've been able to do this with two images, and so you can see how this looks. All right. I did the Theraflu a while ago, Roll. I did that just minutes before we went live. The other one, I probably should save that until later. No, you have to download the images one at a time. All right. Now, keep in mind, this question always comes up. Keep in mind when you do this, at this point in time, you're still going to have to make sure that you leave the PNG behind that. Okay. For some reason, that comes up a lot when you download. Make sure that you rename it and still leave the .png behind it. Don't forget that. Rob, that's a good question. I have downloaded numerous images. As a matter of fact, I had a couple of them in the agenda that I had this morning, and I did that on purpose because I wanted you to see how clear that they looked there. Okay. Abigail, that's a good question. It has to be close. I mean, just like relatively close. Remember last week I showed you the image that I had created that was significantly different. Let me see if I can find that image and I'll show you what I'm talking about. I'll try to find an image here that makes sense to do that. I'm going to put this in here. No, wait a minute, I can't do that. That won't work. That's not a good idea. When you go back over to this, so you get a fairly decent, I mean, that looks, the distortion of that, and that's really a weird size image. That's the reason why the canvas has two presets in it. The two presets on the Usign canvas gives you the expected image size, and we'll cover that in just a few minutes, Abigail. Thank you for the question, though. We've answered the video question numerous times. That's something that they have to look into. We do understand GIFs, but video is another story. Rob, that's a good question. The answer to that question is yes. Now you have to download the image and upload it into here. The question was, can the devices be on a transparent background? Okay, I have an answer to that. How long would it take you to remove the background from this? Just a thought. No, you have to use the images that are in the platform. Yeah, I love that TV image. I just love that. I think that's really cool. Checking to see if we have any other questions before we move on. Robert, that question comes up every once in a while about written tutorials. This is a highly visual platform, and it's a lot easier to describe it in a visual fashion. Linda, Bertram's asked that we stay online until the end of the webinar, and he'll give you a link for it. No, this is a desktop version as of right now. Trying to answer the questions as we go. I apologize for the delay, but there's a reason for that. Just like we update the version with GIF sign, gang. Graham, I'm not sure I understand your question. These are all the templates right here. No, you download the images one at a time, Tom. In much the same way as the, hold on just a second. You will get the download notifications, I'm assuming in much the same way that we get that with GIF sign, and right up here there'll probably be a bell that will turn red like it does with GIF sign. Graham, I'm not sure what you're talking about. These are the options right here. Scroll across the top. These are all the templates that we're talking about. No. It's a new tool, Robert. Okay, I think we, unless you have any other questions, the questions are being a little bit redundant, and so I think we've answered many of those. No, the Mock Design is a separate platform. Okay, I'm trying to make sense of that question. All right, let me put another image in here. The Mock Design will be live in 20 minutes, folks, so hang on. We'll drop this background image in here. We'll go over to the iPhone, smartphones. Are these mock backgrounds all new? I have not seen anything here that I've used before, that I've seen before, Stephen. So that's a good question. I don't see anything. Bertram probably better answer that, but I don't see anything new here that I haven't seen before. So when you look at the, I love these photo images. These are just amazing. All right. Take a look at some of these. I mean, I love this one. Yes. The number of Dr. P. We will be adding new background images. This is just where we started at. Okay. But it's good. It's a good question. I think. The cool thing is, by being able to see all of these images, you know if you need to make any adjustment, know if you need to change anything from what you currently got. All of those things become very valuable to you to do that. Okay. I agree, Stephen. I think these are the best. These are maybe the best images for mock-ups that I've seen. I really like the way this looks. It is a little more artsy, and it's a lot more people oriented. I just think that it's a pretty amazing. All right. Then you have these 4 images over here, and this number I'm sure will be growing. But I really like this. This is kind of a cool way to display something. The biggest difference is the engine that's here, the ability to be able to do all of these. You can't do this in smart mockups. You can't see all of these things at the same time. That's number one. Number two is that you don't have to worry about positioning and making sure that the size is perfect. It moves from one area to the other. Does that help answer your question, Marcy? Hey, Tyree, good to see you, man. The answer is yes, Marcy. Yes. I love the look of the images. I think the images themselves, these are just amazing. But before this launches, I wanted you to get a chance to take a careful look at all of the images that were there. Bertram's answering the question here about t-shirts, mugs, book covers, etc. All those things are coming, okay? But Bertram, help us with this. We're going to start a mock designers group. Is that correct? And there'll be opportunity to be able to share your designs and all of the stuff like that, and give feedback and those kinds of things as well. But yes, you can uploading your questions. Hey, new update. We're going to be live in about 5 minutes now, okay? In about 5 minutes. Let me show you a different image here, just so you can see what we got going on here. Suzanne, I'm not sure what that question means. That's the second time I've had that question, and I don't know what that means. Yeah, you have to get the product out in the public, and then you can add those things, okay? Yes, Team VFM, that's the question. Now I see the question, okay? There is a space holder, but there are no templates currently created for that. I understand which, now I get the question. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's it. I woke up this morning, that's how I felt. And so that's the first picture that I grabbed. Thank you for catching that. Yes, that's how I felt. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Bertram's about to put the link in to Mock Design this morning. And so it is live at mockdesign.com. Kim, if you're talking about this part of the image right here, the answer to that question is yes. This is an image that I created and put there. If you're talking about the background image, the answer to that question is no. Linda, that's a good question. I think I understand your question. If you will take a look at the replays, excuse me, I have actually put the replay. I have a mock-up at the beginning of the replay. Stephen, the answer is no. There's no OTOs at this time. Any other questions? Looks like everybody's running out to buy the product now, which is cool. That's a good thing to do. All right. Okay. Kim's asking about GIFZine. Kim, you just hang on here a second. Let me switch my screen, and I'll be glad to talk to you about GIFZine. All right. We'll walk you through this quickly. You get your very own personal demo here. Kim, how's that? Okay, Kim, you should be seeing my GIFZine screen. Let me make sure that you're seeing this clearly here. Hang on a second. Okay, you should be seeing my GIFZine screen. And I'm going to follow along with this because sometimes I don't see, it doesn't show what you need to see. Okay, right here. This is where you upload or enter. And you can put a video in, you can put a GIF in, you can put an image. You can put a series of images. If you put a series of images in, what happens is that series of images then becomes your GIF. And it plays similar to what it would if it was a video. Okay? If you need more time on each image, here's what you do. It's pretty simple. Duplicate the image. Okay, here's the process, Kim. It's really simple, so stick with me. If I create the image, I'm gonna call it 001. I download that as a ping file, 001. Then if I want to double the length of time that one's present, what I do is I then download it 002, same image. If I want to make it longer than that, download it 003, same image. Then I move to the next image. I add something to the current image, or I do whatever it is I'm going to do. And then I download it. That's the easiest way to give that each image has a different time period. Yes. Yes. If you want to make the time longer, you have to make sure that you increase the number of. Okay, I got you. And I've done that. And what you do if you're creating something to spell out a couple of words, you can either create the entire word, or I've done numerous ones where I actually typed out each word and each letter appeared. And then when you slow the speed down, it kind of looks like somebody's actually typing. So it works really, really well. No, you can't reorder them once they're inside of GIF-Zone. So if you're doing it letter by letter, then you'll have to make sure that you order them sequentially. And then if you want a delay between the words of the letters, you'll have to double them if moving it all the way down to 1 is not slow enough. The other thing that you could do is you could you could take the images and drop them all in a video editor, and then make them any length of time that you want. I completely agree that the images are beautiful inside of there. Okay, that's a common problem, Kim. You created a ton of images and you thought they had them numbered correctly, then they didn't play in the way that you just and it was much too fast. Slow down your slide rate is one way. And the other thing to do, excuse me, the other thing to do, where do you slow the slide rate? Okay, let me show you on the screen here where to slow the slide rate. I've got to throw something in here so it'll take me to the editor. Oh, wait a minute, that's not a slide. That won't do it. Sorry. Let me grab an image here. Frame rate right down here at the bottom, Kim. Can you see this? It's right here where it says frame rate. Slow your frame rates down. That's where you slow your frame rate down. Try that first. But the sequential issue, I've discovered this, and we played with this for a long, long time because people were saying that they were having that issue. It seems to not have that issue if it's PNG files. If they're JPEG files, it does. I can't tell you why. And the other thing is make sure that you make sure that what you do is you excuse me, that you don't put words in front of the numbers. That's a bit of an issue as well. I've had way more success with PNG files than anything else, but also make sure that you click on them and load them in the order that they're sequenced as well. But don't put anything in front of them. And if that doesn't work, I'll be glad to try to help you with that more if I can. Okay? Anything else before we go? All right. Well, with that, folks, thank you so much. Thank you for giving us your attention today so we could talk about mock design.